Morning, good afternoon. We're just gonna kickstart right now while everybody else join along. As we start, I want to give us a brief about what we're gonna talk about today. My name is Folabi Obembe, and I'll probably introduce myself at later stage, in much detail. Today we're going to be having speakers, three speakers joining myself to talk about what is going on in the Southern African market when it comes to international student recruitment. So, on the meeting today, we have Christine Utaka. She's one of the very old recruitment agency with a very high reputation in the Southern African market, and she will be sharing her experience with us today. And we have Wade Tucker also. He works at British Council as a business development manager at British Council. They will be talking about the global disruption and how it's actually affecting the student mobility within the Southern African market. And then we have Susan Dutt. She would be talking more into student finance and affordability and how her bank, which is Standard Bank, is supporting student recruitment from the market. And she's working closely with Education Link, which is Christine's company in South Africa, to finance students that wants to study abroad. So they'll be sharing their experience. I'm going to share a screen with us because the objective of this meeting today or this webinar is basically to talk about what is happening in the Southern African market and how this can actually be an advantage to universities and colleges that might be looking into that particular market as we speak. As we all know that there's quite a lot of changes in policies in terms of immigration policies and government policies around education at the moment, which of course give universities and colleges more reasons to look at other markets. In some of the traditional markets, especially in Africa, the popular ones that most university comes to, there's a huge competitions going on in those markets right now. And the purpose of this is kind of to shed light on potential market that university might be looking at in terms of the Southern African market, which gives us a reason to diversify and as well as spread our risk across the continent. So before I hand over to Christine to start, I'm just gonna again do an intro because we have a few people that just recently joined. Christine is one of the top recruitment agencies in Southern African market, and she's been recruiting now that we know as an organization for more than 20 years. We've known her to be in this industry. She has sent a lot of students out to different countries in the world, especially from the southern part of Africa. And she will be sharing her own ideas and, of course, what is going on. She'll be giving us an update of what is going on in the Southern African markets. And as well as Wade also, which is one of our speakers today. He works at the British Council. He will also be telling us about what is going on ground in the Southern African market. Especially, we'll probably be talking from the UK perspective, UK university perspective. So I want to believe that Christine, are you there? I would like to put you on and have you talk about the market. And myself, I'll come back later to share what we've gathered, both from Findadmission and both Findadmission platform, which is one of the biggest recruitment platform in the continent, and also based on our experience with student recruitment in different African countries. So we will be sharing our own data as to what we find out that's going on in the Southern African market, which might be a very good advantage for universities and colleges that might be interested in that particular region. So, Christine, I want to believe you're there. Could you please say hello?
Hi, everybody. Hi. Lovely to meet everybody, and welcome to this webinar that Fulabi has put together, which I think is very, very important because we're not living in the same world we were living in maybe even 2 years ago. I mean, one just has to put on the TV every day and there's something new happening. And I think it is pretty daunting for a lot of companies, a lot of people. And, my philosophy is, how do you deal with it? You can either go into a rabbit hole and sit there wondering, nervous, what's going to happen? Don't spend any money, don't do anything. Or you can take the opposite approach, is what I've always been, but I'm always been an opportunist. So I see this as an amazing opportunity for any university, anybody that wants to make the best of this time and literally speculate to accumulate, because that's what it's literally all about. Um, Panic isn't going to get you there, but we've seen it. We see it ourselves. And I was talking to Falabi quite recently about it. We've run road shows in Southern Africa for 19 years. We were the first people that ever brought a road show to this region. And believe me, our universities that come every year religiously because they know what an amazing roadshow this is. Some have had budget cuts, others are just a little bit nervous. But guys, I want to tell you good news. The good news that is happening in Southern Africa. Okay, let's start with South Africa first. Um, Going back 20 years, very few people even thought of going to study abroad. South Africa has been blessed with some amazing universities. We've got 20 or so universities that come back from the pre-apartheid era. But now we are 30 years along, and not one extra university has been built. And we've got this huge influx of students from not in East Africa, but from our neighboring countries that are doing so well. They're getting really good marks, but they cannot get in. Our exam results came out, final exams, because we've got a little bit of a different academic calendar to what is in the Northern Hemisphere. Our academic year starts now in January, and it runs all the way through until November. So final exams take place in November. The exam results came out last week. We have never been inundated with inquiries, applications pouring in, because even students we've had students sitting in our office, they just walk in with distinctions and they're not getting into local universities. If they do, maybe say, for example, they wanted to study engineering or they want to study medicine, all these sought after programs, they're not getting in, even with distinctions. They are being told, go and choose a humanity program. And what does that do? That it daunts the passion. A student that's all their life wanted to be an engineer, now they've got to do something totally different. So guys, for you to take this opportunity and come out here to our lovely country and see the potential that is here, I mean, it's phenomenal. I know how Falabi works. We've done a couple of events with him, and he brings in the footfalls of students. That I can assure you. So you're going to see a big student number because all these students have just left school. They've got nowhere to go. These are your students for 2026 intakes. And that being said, you're going to be seeing a lot of schools as well. How we've arranged this for Labi and myself. He contacted our company late last year, and we worked with him on an event he ran in Johannesburg, which was very well attended. And we thought, let's put our heads together and make this the best road show ever. Because his strength as worldview is on the open events where you're going to get everybody that's left school, undergrads as well as postgrads, coming to these events. Our strength is the schools. Over the last 20 years, we have we are very strong with all the good schools in Southern Africa. So we are running as International Education Link the school events, and Falabi is running the open public events. So I think it would be a very wise decision for anybody to really take this opportunity, experience this wonderful country of ours, meet our students that are all looking for opportunities. And while others are sleeping, I would just like to say, take this advantage. So I don't think I need to say much more other than that. I've mentioned about the school programs. I've mentioned about exams just coming out. And we are going to be introducing later on Susan Dubé, who heads up bursaries and scholarships for one of our largest banks in South Africa that are very pro this whole situation that we're in. I mean, I've been in discussions with their exco. Please, they say, come and help because our kids are not getting into local universities. I do just have to say we on an alert with her because she had to suddenly today drive down to the Durban area to deal with an issue down there. And as we speak, she's en route to Durban driving. But she really wants to be part of this. I've asked our operations person, Jason, who's in this meeting, to keep in touch with her because she said what she's going to do is go into one of the service stations and try and join from there. So, Falabi, if we don't mind, if we could leave her slot till last to give her time to catch up. If not, if she's not able to, I will, I know what to say about the bank side. But that's a very important part of, I think, this particular webinar. So, Falabi, I think I've said what I need to say, unless there's anything more you'd like me to say.
Well, I mean, thank you very much. It's good to hear from you, being on ground, and of course, data which I'm going to show in my presentation shortly will confirm the same. That's actually happening in South Africa at the moment. Before, like 3 years back, I mean, I would say 5, 6 years back, we don't organize fairs in Southern Africa because the market used to be a study abroad market where students go for 2 month programs because South Africa has a very, very good universities. And same thing as also in the neighboring countries like Zimbabwe and all those countries, students come from there to study in South Africa. And now that's what is going on in South Africa with regards to local students. These are actually giving the region reason to start looking at elsewhere where they can study, including the Zimbabwe student, actually. So I'm going to share that data at some point later. But if we do have Wade on the call right now, it would be good to hear from Wade. He works at British Council, and I'm sure he's from British when it comes to UK universities. He's probably have something to share with us in regards to what is happening on ground, Wade, when it comes to interest in UK universities from the southern part of Africa. And Wade, thank you. Thanks for joining us today.
Great. Thanks so much, Falabi. Good afternoon to everyone. Thank you very much for inviting me to this call. Falabi, it's good to see you again. It's been some years. It's been too long since we've last met, but it's great to see that you're coming back to South Africa and bringing study opportunities to the market here. So really good to see you, Falabi.
Thank you, Wade.
Great. So my name is Wade. I'm the business development manager at British Council, and I work with the exams part of the business. I look after there's 9 countries under my remit, so that's the SADC countries, so Southern Africa, basically all the way from Malawi and Mauritius all the way south. And a big part of our mission at British Council is to bring the UK closer to South Africa and neighboring countries as well. So a big part of that is study abroad opportunities and how we can get access to South Africans, opportunities to study overseas. So that's a big part of our work. And we do that through our work with the English proficiency exams, which is, in our case, is IELTS. And that's obviously a study abroad, an immigration requirement to study abroad. So I just want to say a few things about our partnership with EduLink. British Council, we've been partnered with them for the last 6 years now. It's been a really good partnership because we really value the trust that the schools have in them. It's taken them many years to build that trust with the schools. They have really good relationships with some of the top private schools in the country and most affluent private schools in the country, and that really takes a long time to get there. So that's why we really value the partnership, and we always want to be part of their events. Their knowledge in the market is really something that's we value as well because they really have, a big understanding of each country. In this region, in Southern Africa, every single country is unique and different in their own way, and EduLink definitely have a good understanding of that. And that's definitely demonstrated in their work in the annual roadshow, where they're able to, I think some of the roadshows that we've been on, we've visited about 6 countries in about 18 days. So it's hard work. It's a lot of traveling, but it really is the best way to be on the ground and see all of these schools in the shortest amount of time. So really huge value in that. At British Council, also what we do have we do have some really impactful insights that we get from the British High Commission, and that is the student visa statistics. So, what we've seen in the last year is the general training visas for the UK. That has dropped tremendously. That's for professionals wanting to go study overseas. There's been some immigration policy changes that have come in with the UK government, and they've really put a cap on the immigration side of things for professionals. But what we have seen is a consistency and even a growth of academic visas being granted in the UK. So that tells us that there is still a huge demand and interest to study overseas. And there's no limit really on the British government to put a cap on that. So it is good to see that. We've seen the UK, well, the study visas grow year on year about 7%. So despite, the can be high cost with the UK tuition, we still see that, it is still really a popular study destination. So that's something that I just wanted to share, with the audience today, that we are projecting the same kind of growth for the next year. So yeah, from my side, I just want to really, emphasize the importance of being visible, being in this market. This kind of market is to get the trust of the parents, you really have to see them face to face and be at the schools to present, the study opportunities at the universities. So that's why it's really important to be take the opportunity to be part of these road shows that Falabi and Christine are bringing in the next month. And also some advice from our side would be to collect those leads and work very closely with the agency, EduLink and Falabi to follow up on those leads, so that you can help those students get started in the next intake, which I believe is happening in September, because a lot of work goes into the preparation of getting the students ready, getting their UCAS acceptance, and also their student study visas going. So now is actually the perfect time to go to these schools and actually present and exhibit your offerings at the universities. So that's it, Falabi. That's just what I wanted to say. I kept it short and brief.
Wonderful, wonderful
Back to
way.
you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So, I'm going to share my screen because I'll be doing more of a data sharing. So I would like us to see what I'm sharing at the same time, or what I'm talking about, actually. So, thank you, Wade. Thanks for joining the webinar. So, guys, we're talking about beyond the usual destinations. I mean, when we talk about Africa, a lot of universities pretty much see Africa as more of the West than the South or the North or the eastern part of the continent. But most universities have a very strong presence in countries like Nigeria, Ghana, especially in the East. They focus more on in Kenya and some other countries in the East African countries. But what we've seen so far is how the global disruptions are actually creating opportunity in the Southern Africa. So that is what this webinar is actually all about. So what we've seen so far is that policy change in some countries is actually creating opportunities in other countries. And I'll give us an example. A country like Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe used to have South Africa as their top study destination. So students from Zimbabwe used to go to South Africa to study. But due to the changes in South Africa education in terms of numbers of students going to local universities, there is a huge disruption right now with regards to students from Zimbabwe going to South Africa. There is no space for them. And at the same time, there is a ban from the US, which of course has created another opportunity for universities from other parts of the world in terms of going to Zimbabwe to recruit students, especially schools from Europe, I would say from Canada. These are very good opportunity for them to actually consider this Zimbabwe market, for example. But what is actually happening in South Africa is affecting the southern region. So I want to go more in details into that. And I want to talk about how this market is actually becoming the fastest growing emerging market. In the past 5-6 years, we don't have any reasons to host education fairs in South Africa because South Africa has a very good universities. And most of their students, they hardly go for programs like degree programs because they prefer percentage-wise in terms of numbers. A lot of people prefer to study at home and possibly do masters abroad. But that game is changing now because the numbers of students actually trying to get into the university in South Africa, the local universities cannot accommodate the numbers. So that's giving people a reason to start looking elsewhere. And as you guys can see on my screen, I said rapidly rising demand for global education is happening currently in South Africa. And demand is also increasing steadily across Botswana, Namibia, Zambia, because those countries actually used to rely on South Africa as a study destination. They go to South Africa more to study. But since local universities in South Africa are not able to accommodate the numbers of local students that wants to study in South Africa, that has left all these regional countries in a turmoil in terms of where should they go to. Students over there now considering other countries in the world. So as we can see that what is going on in South Africa has created an opportunity for the southern region, those that want to recruit from the southern region. And also middle-class family are now exploring international options more than before. It's what we're experiencing. And I'm going to show you the data from our Findadmission platform shortly. And what is happening is because most of our partner universities, most of the universities in South Africa, the local university, they're under pressure because of due to numbers of students that are looking to get into university. So when we talk about Southern Africa, we talk about South Africa because that's used to be the hub, the fastest growing emerging market. Now, a lot of people have started considering prestige and safety. Now, it mirrors what happened in countries like Nigeria and Ghana. Most Ghanaians will go to study abroad because they know that when they return back, that qualification can actually get them a better job as compared to someone that study at home. So that trend, we started to see that trend also in South Africa now because the competition is very high. If students are not able to get their child into the top university, then they're probably looking for an opportunity for the child to go to and study abroad so that when that child comes back, he or she is able to compete with someone that went to top university. So this is how the trend started in Nigeria, where students that weren't able to go to top universities, parents don't have a choice but to send that child out in order for that student to be able to compete with their counterparts. We started seeing that. Desire prestige, prestigious international qualification. And now it's also a growing trend that the foreign degrees is opening more opportunity than the local universities. So international degrees are becoming a competitive advantage also in South Africa, which was the case in Ghana, Nigeria, and all those top countries where most universities do focus on in terms of recruitment. The same trend is happening now in the southern part of Africa. So how for the student there is how to stand out in the job market, the pathway to international exposure and employability, and the long term in terms of return on their investment. So this is what we gathered from our Study in Africa initiative, which is currently a platform for more than 200 African universities that they use to recruit students. So this platform was launched in 2021. And this has been the trend in terms of student application numbers. So as you guys can see, the numbers is actually dropping. This used to be students trying to get into South Africa to study. So these are the top study destinations for South African universities where they do recruit international students before. Botswana, Namibia, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Malawi, and Lithuania. So the numbers of students have started dropping, not because students are no more interested, but because the capacity, there is a limited capacity in South African universities now to accommodate them. So, and this is also the rising trend, numbers of students from South Africa applying to study abroad. This is from our statistics on our platform, on Findadmission. So as you guys can see in 2020, of course, as a result of COVID, we know that the numbers was extremely low. But in 2021, we started seeing some, it started picking up. But when we started noticing South Africa as a market for us as on this side is 2023, when we started seeing the trend in terms of numbers of students and parents looking to study abroad. But in 2025, this number has actually skyrocketed in terms of numbers of students now coming out of South Africa to study. And this is what the map looks like for us. This is where the students are coming from. We've also dig deep into why this region. So we figured out that Johannesburg is one of the top markets, which of course is a diverse city that accommodates people from different countries in the continent. So numbers inside Johannesburg is huge as compared to everywhere else. And Cape Town, we have a very significant numbers of students looking to study outside of Cape Town also. But there is something particular about Cape Town, which I'm going to share sometimes soon. Durban and Free State. So this is where the numbers are coming from, especially from the South Africa when it comes to our platform. So this was our affairs in Cape Town. So in 2023, we actually roll out a fairs in Cape Town, and we got a lot of students to come out, parents came out. But one of the challenge there was that students from Cape Town actually looking for top university. They were asking us for the likes of Harvard universities, Cambridge universities. But most of the universities that we do came to the exhibitions week were not of those kind of highly ranked universities. So the student they're actually looking for high ranked university. We noticed that was the case in 2023 when we went there, but now we've also seen that the trend is moving in different directions. So students are becoming more flexible. So this year we're doing fairs again. We stopped our fairs in Cape Town in 2024, 2025. We did not do fairs there, but this year, 2026, we're going back to Cape Town because we've started seeing the trend moving in a different direction. Then students were looking for top universities, and unfortunately, we won't be able to take a university like Harvard for fairs or University of Cambridge to attend fairs. I have never seen them at fairs before, but if it's possible, I believe the student over there, that's what they were looking for at the time. But since that time, we've been doing our fairs in Joburg, And this year again is going to be next month is actually going to be our third or fourth year of doing fairs in Johannesburg, which has been a very good market, especially for universities. The good thing about southern part of Africa, especially South Africa, is um, the visa approval rate is higher than anywhere else in the continent. So the chances of university actually recruiting from this market is higher, getting quality students to come through the process and be successfully enrolled on campus. So this is the brief about what is happening in the Southern Africa market. But we do have fairs coming up. Uh, sorry, we have fairs coming up next month. And this fairs is going to be held in Johannesburg. We're going to do in Cape Town, and we're going to do in Durban. And we're doing the fairs in partnership with EduLink, which is Christine's company, which has been in the industry for more than 20 years. And on the flip side of it, we're also having a school visit where colleges will have an opportunity to go into top private schools and meet with their students as well as their career counselors. This creates an opportunity for every university looking into that market or looking to diversify. I'll put it that way, because this is the highest time to diversify your recruitment market. I believe that's all I have to say, but if we have we have time for us to ask questions. If we do have questions, you can put your questions in a chat box, or you can also speak if you want to. Please, I'm not sure if we have Susan here yet, because Susan is from Standard Bank. She was going to tell us about the financial opportunities that the bank is providing students that wants to explore study abroad opportunities. So Standard Bank is working closely with EduLink as well to provide students with financial support. So they have a loan package, believe they're giving to students that wants to explore education abroad. So Christine, correct me if I'm wrong. I guess Susan is not here yet. If she's not,
The
then
last, yeah, Falabi, the last message I got, she was driving into the hotel that she's obviously booked into. And I have just phoned her. So she and one of our ops people is actually trying to see if they can't. Jason, please, if you're listening, please try and also reach out to her. However, in the meantime, while we're waiting, what I would like to share, Amora Fisser, who is a very, very experienced lady. She works with EduLink, which is part of our team. Amora comes from a teaching educational background, and she's just sent me a phenomenal little snippet. Thank you, Amora, very, very much for this, which I'm going to send. It's come on WhatsApp. So, Falabi, I'm going to send this off to you. If you could share it on the screen, that would be amazing, because it has just been released, literally, apparently very, very recently. And this is based on 2026 intakes at our universities. I mean, it is phenomenal. I'm just going to read the top one. The University of Johannesburg had over 600,000 applications, only 10,000 places. I don't know if you've received it, Falabi. But it is just showing exactly what I said in the beginning, and which Falabi has also elaborated on. Our universities cannot keep up with the demand, and it is huge numbers. Well, as I said, we've seen it this week. I've never seen the influx of students coming into our office like they have this week. So, I mean, I really believe everybody, this is an opportunity, like I said, second to none. While others are sitting and worrying about what's happening in the world, guys, grab this opportunity, because there you go. There are your numbers. Thank you, Amora. And this is realistic. This has only been released, I think, days ago. These are the current facts. So I don't know if everybody's got time to absorb all of that. But that is the total number of our universities, which I mentioned earlier. There are no new universities since 1994. There were some private ones that opened, like Monash, they've closed. So these are all state-owned universities. Guys, this is phenomenal. Okay. I mean, look at Stellenbosch University. Look at, I mean, the most striking is University of Johannesburg, because Gauteng is the province which Johannesburg is in. And I mean, we've got the population here, huge population. And this is where most of the students are coming from.
Wow, this is huge.
I mean, it's huge. It's huge. You know, a couple of years ago, what they had to do, Falabi, students used to literally walk into those universities to enroll. Okay. They've had to stop it because it became dangerous, because they could not cope with the demands. So now the sad thing is, this is why my discussions with Standard Bank have been so important. And there's a press release, I think I sent it to you, Falabi, which I'd also like you to share with whoever's on this webinar today. If you
Yeah.
don't have it, please just WhatsApp me. That was released last year from Exco level at Standard Bank about this dilemma, saying that it's out of control. And if students don't get the tertiary education, what is happening is they are sitting at home. There is no hope. There's a hopeless situation. And many was probably about just before we did this tie-up with Standard Bank, I actually went to a school. I just want to share this with you. Because they were short-staffed, our team, and they said, please want to come and do a talk there. So as I arrived, first time ever, I saw a whole team of bankers there, and this was Standard Bank. So I went up to the ladies and I said, oh, I'm so pleased to see you guys here, because I hope you're doing student loans, because that's what's needed. And they said, well, no, they're not actually. They're opening accounts for the school leavers. So I said, well, look, I'm going to really try and make something happen in this arena. And the MC asked me to go and give a talk, and I gave a talk, and I said, I want to just ask you students here, aren't you excited? You in grade 12 this year, what the future holds? And there was such a hopelessness, guys, such a hopelessness amongst these students. One boy put his hand up. He said, ma'am, I don't even want to think of next year. He said, my brother was at the school and he was first team rugby. And rugby is so big in South Africa. He's now been sitting at home for 2 years, lying on the couch because he cannot get into a university. He cannot get a job. And this is what the dilemma is that we're facing. And Standard Bank have seen this, and they have joined arms with us. We are trying and help the students that cannot afford normally to study abroad because they don't have the capital to actually bridge that by the student loans. So if I could just say, Susan, I don't know if you have joined. If you have, would you just give us a sign? Maybe she's not. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about Standard Bank. So then I sent a letter to their CEO of the bank saying, I understand this dilemma. And something made me think, I wonder what school he went to. And I Googled it, and he'd been a student at that actual school that we just visited. So it touched his heart. And literally within a week, we had Standard Bank in our boardroom, and that is how the relationship started. They are now on our website, and we are helping as many students as we can. So how the student loan works, which is so good for you guys that are here today. Once a student gets an acceptance offer from your institution, basically they come to us, and we have the link to Standard Bank to get the student loan started, the whole process. Basically, the parent only has to pay the interest every month. That's all they pay while the student is studying. Once that student graduates, only then does the capital need to start to be paid, and they've got 10 years to pay that capital off. So now I don't know how many UK universities are in this webinar, but I mean, I know that students are allowed to stay on for 2 years and work in the UK, and I've just looked at the graduate earning potential. I mean, this is a big help for them and their parents to basically pay off these student loans. You, as the university, get paid in full. As that loan is granted, you are paid for the whole year. So you don't have to worry about chasing money every month from a student. The bank pays you in full, which is a big, big plus. So they will be at our roadshow. At every event, they will be there. They will be telling the same story to the students. And basically, as a university, you have this benefit as well of knowing that you're going to get for whoever qualifies. And most of the schools we're visiting are really reasonably good schools. So those parents are credit worthy. They will be able to afford this loan. And I think everybody sees the vision of let's try and help our youth to go and experience what they can overseas, come back not only with a degree, but to have those global skills that are worth more than money can buy. And sow it back into our countries because Africa needs this experience. They need those skills to build Africa. So I think, Balabi, if you don't mind, I've said as much as I can about Standard Bank, but I will speak to Susan later on tonight or probably tomorrow morning, and maybe she might just want to just add her little bit, and we could either do it in the form of maybe a little text from her or whatever. But they're fully supportive, as the press release from last year will show, and obviously we're going to do a press release again this year.
Well, I think you've covered most of the things that we need to know.
Yeah.
Just we weren't able to hear directly from her, but that's a very good one, Christine. And if anyone wants to tap into that, obviously your contact will be shared, and they can actually reach out to you as well.
Okay,
So
wonderful.
I want to believe that everyone knows what's going on in the market. And I want to thank Amora for actually sharing this, because this actually confirmed what we got on the Findadmission platform in terms of how the numbers keep increasing. Students looking to study abroad from South Africa. So the potential is there, obviously, and the market is I believe is a growing market, emerging market, and for any university looking to diversify and spread their risk in the continent, I want to believe that they have reasons to believe now that they have to be in Southern Africa, especially in South Africa also. And again, the road shows we're having is next month. We still have some spots available for universities that want to jump on this. I always say that the earlier the better, go in when the time is there, establish your presence, your brand, and you keep getting students from the south. So I would allow people to ask questions before we actually wrap this up. Please, if you have any question whatsoever, please kindly put in the chat box, or